If you're planning a spring break trip this year and thinking, why is everything so expensive? You're not imagining it. In 2026, a lot of school districts across the US scheduled their spring break during the same few weeks, which means millions of families are trying to travel at the exact same time. And when demand spikes like that, prices go up fast. But the good news is you don't have to overpay. Today, I'm sharing 5 spring break destinations that still offer great value for families, plus a few simple tips that can save you hundreds or even thousands on your trip. When families start planning a spring break trip, a lot of people immediately think about places like the Bahamas, Bermuda, or luxury islands like Turks and Caicos. The problem is, those destinations are some of the most expensive in the Caribbean, especially during spring break. For example, hotels in Turks and Caicos regularly run between $800 and $1,200 a night during peak weeks, and flights can easily reach $700 to $1,000 per person. But there's a few destinations that offer similar beaches and warm weather for much less money. 3 of the best alternatives are Cancun, the Dominican Republic, especially the resort area around Punta Cana, and Aruba. Cancun and the Riviera Maya have one of the largest tourism infrastructures in all the Caribbean, with hundreds of resorts and frequent flights from major US cities. Because there's so much competition, you can often find spring break resorts for $200 to $250 per night, which is far less than many other smaller islands. The Dominican Republic, especially Punta Cana, is often the best value for all-inclusive resorts, with meals, drinks, and activities included. Family resorts there frequently start around $200 to $400 per night, which can make it one of the most budget-friendly tropical destinations. Aruba tends to be a little bit more expensive than the other 2, but many families choose it because it sits outside the hurricane belt, which means consistently sunny weather and beautiful beaches year-round. So if you want Caribbean beaches or Caribbean beaches without the sticker shock, Cancun and the Dominican Republic usually offer the best value, while Aruba is great if you want a little bit more reliability and polish. Now, if the Caribbean sounds great, but you want something a little easier to plan, consider Puerto Rico. Because Puerto Rico is a US territory, American travelers don't need a passport. You're using US currency, and most major airlines fly there just like any domestic destination. That makes it one of the easiest ways to get a tropical vacation without dealing with international travel logistics. And there's a lot more to do here than just the beach. You can explore the colorful, historic streets of Old San Juan, hike through the tropical rainforest in El Yunque National Forest, or visit historical sites like Castillo San Felipe del Morro. Price-wise, Puerto Rico often sits right between Florida and the Caribbean islands. Flights from the East Coast typically land within the $250 to $450 range, and there's plenty of family-friendly resorts and hotels in San Juan and nearby beach areas. So if you want Caribbean scenery with fewer travel complications, Puerto Rico is one of the best spring break options for families out there. Now, if you want warmer weather but prefer to stay completely within the United States, one destination that families return to year after year for spring break is Orlando. And what surprises a lot of people is that Orlando can actually be more affordable than many beach destinations during spring break. The reason is simple: competition. Orlando has one of the largest tourism industries in the world, with thousands of hotel rooms and constant flights arriving from cities across the United States. Because there's so much supply, prices often stay more competitive than smaller islands, where hotel inventory is limited. Of course, Orlando is home to major attractions like Walt Disney World and Universal Orlando Resort. But there's also plenty of other things to do: water parks, outdoor activities, and family-friendly resorts that aren't attached to theme parks. Flights to Orlando from many parts of the United States often land within the $150 to $350 range, and hotel prices vary widely depending on whether you stay on property or at nearby resorts. So if you're looking for warm weather, lots of activities for the kids, and a destination with plenty of travel options, Orlando remains one of the most reliable spring break options. If you're thinking about heading west for spring break, one of the best family-friendly cities in the country is San Diego. San Diego offers beautiful beaches, great food, and plenty of attractions, all with a much more relaxed feel than Los Angeles. And the weather this time of year is perfect for exploring. With spring temperatures often in the mid-60s to low 70s. One of the biggest highlights for families is the world-famous San Diego Zoo, along with places like La Jolla Cove, the Gaslamp Quarter, and the waterfront parks along San Diego Bay. Flights to San Diego from the East Coast typically run around $350 to $550 round trip during spring break, depending on how early you book. Hotels vary widely, but many solid family-friendly properties fall roughly around the $180 to $350 per night range, with budget options starting under $100 and luxury resorts going much higher. Spring is also one of the best seasons to visit San Diego because the city hosts a number of outdoor festivals and events. Some highlights include the St. Patrick's Day Festival and Parade in March, the San Diego Latino Film Festival, the CRSSD Electronic Music Festival, and later in spring, large events like the Mission Fed Art Walk in Little Italy and the WOW Festival from the La Jolla Playhouse. So if you're looking for a spring break destination that combines beaches, culture, and great weather without the chaos of bigger California cities, San Diego is one of the best choices. Now, if you're open to going a little farther for spring break, Lisbon might surprise you. Spring is actually one of the best times to visit Lisbon. The weather is mild, crowds are smaller than in peak seasons, and prices are often more reasonable than many beach destinations. For travelers coming from the East Coast, Portugal is one of the closest European destinations, with many flights landing within the 6 to 7 hour range. That's actually shorter than a flight to parts of the West Coast. Lisbon itself is packed with history, amazing food, and iconic sites like the Belém Tower, along with colorful neighborhoods and scenic viewpoints overlooking the Tagus River. Hotel prices during spring break often fall within the $100 to $300 a night price range, which can make Lisbon surprisingly competitive with Caribbean resort destinations. And if you're thinking about visiting Lisbon with your family, I actually have several videos on this channel about traveling there, including tips on what to see, where to stay, and things many tourists miss. So definitely check those out after this one. Before you book your spring break trip, here are a few simple things families can do to avoid paying more than you have to. First, try to fly midweek if possible. Flights leaving Tuesday or Wednesday are often significantly cheaper than weekend departures, especially during peak travel seasons like spring break. Second, check nearby airports. Sometimes flying out of a different airport, even one an hour away, can save hundreds of dollars on flights for a family. Third, book earlier than usual this year because many school districts book their spring break during the same few weeks in 2026. Demand is higher than normal and prices are rising faster than they typically do. And finally, compare destinations before committing to the most popular islands. Places like Cancun, the Dominican Republic, and Puerto Rico can offer the same warm weather and beautiful beaches as more expensive destinations, often for significantly less money. Now, I'm curious. 1. Do you say Caribbean or Caribbean? Leave that in the comments. 2. Where are you traveling for spring break this year? And if you've been to any of these destinations, share your favorite spots in the comments so that other families can check them out too. And if you want more travel tips, destination guides, and family travel ideas, make sure to subscribe. As always, I'm Kelly, your trusted vacation agent, wishing you safe travels.